looks like. This is a lawn of the Malassezia globosa fungus.
You say a lawn?
It's a lawn. So basically, you can see those little dots. They're all individual colonies. And when they grow really close together like that, that's a lawn, kind of like a bunch of grass.
Now that I'm close to it and actually smell it, it smells like bread.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a yeast. You know, it's a free-living fungus, just like the Saccharomyces that are used to make bread and make beer with.
So could you make bread with this?
No, I wouldn't want to make bread with yeast off of your scalp. Not right now.
Have you been tested?
I've been tested, yes.
And what did it come out to?
I have a decent amount, so, but we all do. So
It's on everyone's head.
It's on everyone's head, as long as you have hair.
Right. But if everyone has Malassezia, why do only half of us get dandruff? Well, Malassezia lives on the oils called sebum secreted by your skin. The fungi release enzymes called lipases that break down fat molecules.
Oh, so this is one of the lipases that Malassezia produces. So this is something that Malassezia uses to get food, but unfortunately, as a byproduct of that, it also attacks your scalp because it produces free fatty acids that irritate the skin.
Он про этих играть умеешь только всего, да. Да наоборот, и да надо. Наоборот, да. Правильно?
For some of us, those molecules are perceived as invaders, if you will, and all the defensive forces that we have will get turned on to repel essentially these invading molecules. And those defensive forces end up causing this collateral damage that we interpret as an unhealthy scalp and dandruff.
One of the scalp's defenses is to speed up the turnover of skin cells. So instead of taking a month for skin cells to mature and reach the surface, they take as little as 7 days.
When they get to the surface, the adhesive function from one cell to the other hasn't been lost, and so they shed as these clumps of skin cells, 300 or 400 together, which we see as a dandruff flake. The dandruff flakes are just an indicator of a fundamentally unhealthy scalp underlying it by any measure you can dream of making.
Dandruff skin samples show elevated levels of inflammatory cytokines, histamines, which cause itching, and blood proteins on the surface of the scalp, indicating that the skin is not acting as a good barrier between your insides and the outside world. But it goes even further than that, down to the level of gene expression. Scientists took swabs from healthy scalps and dandruff scalps, and then they extracted the RNA, effectively markers of which genes are being expressed and how strongly. And then they compared the two groups, and they found that there were nearly 4,000 genes which were systematically either upregulated or downregulated in the dandruff scalps compared to the healthy scalps. For example, immune and inflammatory response genes were upregulated, things like lipid metabolism were downregulated, and it all kind of makes sense. But now that you know that there's a difference at the level of gene expression, how do you actually treat dandruff?
So this is the lawn of Malassezia. This is the Malassezia with a spot of the Head and Shoulders active put on it. The Malassezia just doesn't grow where that Head and Shoulders active actually is.
These active ingredients can be zinc pyrithione, selenium sulfide, or pyroxone olamine.
They are controlling the metabolism of those Malassezia cells that are leading to irritating substances. So the idea is to suppress their bioactivity to some extent so that we're reducing the level of irritating substances on our scalp that trigger the irritation and hyperproliferation and barrier destruction that we talked about.
Now that we understand like these clusters and these gene signatures of dandruff is, can we reverse these gene signatures if we treat with Head and Shoulders? So this is the group of dandruff at baseline, and these genes are all downregulated, and then these genes are upregulated. You can see if you treat with just a cosmetic shampoo that you really don't make a difference in those genes. But if you treat with Head and Shoulders, after 3 weeks, this signature looks just like somebody who doesn't have dandruff. And so you're looking at 3,700 genes kind of all clustered all on here, and you're seeing them flip around. They're going from an unhealthy signature to a healthy signature.
So Head and Shoulders reduces the malassezia irritants on the scalp, changing your scalp's response and ultimately reducing skin flakes. So unlike dinosaurs, we don't have to live with dandruff. But in their case, the presence of skin flakes reveals something important about their biology. They had evolved warm-bloodedness, and hence feathers as a way to keep warm. But once they had feathers, skin could no longer be shed in one piece like a snake, but instead in tiny pieces.
So in fact, although it's an amusing discovery, it actually had quite an important or profound point, because it tells us that dinosaurs, while commonly called reptiles, are on the side of the birds and the mammals in terms of physiology. They were definitely warm-blooded.
Hey, I hope you learned something from watching this video. I certainly learned a lot making it. And if you want to find out more about Head and Shoulders research or about how to get rid of dandruff, I will put a link to their website down in the description. So I want to say a big thanks to Head and Shoulders for supporting this episode of Veritasium, and I want to thank you for watching.
Пятерочки в горячих предложениях. Вся выпечка свежая и по низкой цене. Идем в гости каждый день.
Как звучит человек в маске? Примерно вот так. А в респираторе? Назаваль плюс. Натуральный спрей для носа, который действует как невидимая маска, защищает слизистую носа и не мешает общению. Не имеет возрастных ограничений. Имеются противопоказания. Проконсультируйтесь со специалистом.
Part of this video is sponsored by LastPass. More about LastPass at the end of the show. This is a video about research into slowing the rate of aging and extending the human lifespan. So before I filmed this, I wanted to know, what do you guys generally think about such research? And I made a Twitter poll where I found the majority of people were supportive and thought there should be more of it. But there were some important concerns, and I want to address those here at the beginning. I mean, the most significant concern was, if we're looking to extend human lifespan, does that just mean we'll have more sick years where we'll be in bed with Alzheimer's? Nobody wants that, and that was clear to me. But the professor that I was interviewing for this video, Professor David Sinclair, points out that as you get older, the risk of horrible diseases, things like diabetes and cancer and arthritis, all those sorts of things, it increases exponentially. And so, if this research is successful, the whole point of it will be to forestall those sorts of diseases. I mean, if you really are tackling aging, then you should also see that those age-related diseases do not set in so quickly. So the point of slowing aging and extending human lifespan is to extend the healthy lifespan, also called the health span. The other concerns I saw were that people were saying, well, this could be used only for the wealthy and increase inequality, or it could increase the population of the earth, causing, garbage, more CO2, where are the resources to feed all these people? I think these are valid concerns, but they're not part of the scope of this video, so if you want to discuss them in the comments, feel free. But the point of this video is to address, can we slow aging in humans? Can we extend the lifespan and the health span? And what does that look like? How do we do it? Okay, so for this video, I traveled up to the Bodega Marine Lab, which is north of San Francisco, and there I got to see some moon jellyfish. Now, what's fascinating about these moon jellyfish is some people consider them immortal. How can that be?
So all these jellyfish have this complex life cycle where they start off as a polyp, which is basically like a small sea anemone, and then they'll go through a metamorphosis and become a medusa. And the medusa stage is what we generally think of when we think about a jellyfish. And in most of these species, the polyps are generally able to asexually reproduce, and they can regenerate if tissue is cut off of them or if they're damaged, and they don't have any clear evidence of senescence, which is the term for biological aging. So they appear to have some degree of immortality. No one had reported their ability to do this until, I think this was 2015.
So do moon jellyfish hold the key to slowing aging and extending our lifespan? Could they help us live forever? Before I got into making this video, I would have put this sort of research in the same category as downloading your brain, your consciousness into a computer. Like, I can see how maybe that would work, but I don't think we're anywhere near that, because we don't even understand how the brain works or how memories are stored, so that seems like serious science fiction. So I would have put, say, extending the human lifespan to 120, 150 and beyond in the same category, but after reading Professor Sinclair's book and doing an interview with him, I think it seems much more possible, and in fact, plausible, that we'll make some progress over controlling aging in our lifetimes. Now, if you want to slow aging, the first question you need to answer is, why do we age in the first place? I mean, what really is aging? I've made a video in the past about telomeres. These are the end caps on your chromosomes. And every time a cell divides, the telomere gets a bit shorter. So it was thought that these telomeres are kind of like the tips of your
Опять что ли? Ну нет, ну наоборот, да. Наоборот.
Ich habe meinen großen Computer hier transportiert, weil ich finde es schön hier. Dann habe ich das Klavier daneben, falls ich es brauche, und ja, ist ein bisschen wärmer als in meinem Büro. Guten Morgen, Bernd. Guten Morgen, Monika. Guten Morgen, Lucy. Ton und Bild super. Super, danke dir. Hallo Claudia, sehr schön. Hallo Uschi, Daniela, Philipp, Piano Guy, Hanni ist auch da. Guten Morgen, Hanni. Ja, so schön. Wow. Hey, so viele gleich da. Richtig gut. Hallo Petra, du bist auch hier. Sehr schön. Uta, Brigitta. Ja, wunderbar. Hallo Irmi. Oh, schön. Richtig schön. Ja, ich warte vielleicht noch ein ganz bisschen. Ganz ein bisschen, aber ich glaube dann ist gut. Bevor ich dann zu euren Fragen gehe, möchte ich heute ein bisschen erzählen über die Projekte, die kommen. Also, und zwar, es gibt wieder eine Notenlernen-Challenge. Ich habe überlegt, ob ich dieses Jahr das nochmals mache.
That's what I'm talking about. Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Лидер нашей группы наемников оказался предателем. Он связался с какой-то шайкой бандитов, и они вместе атаковали базу долга, вырезав группировку. почти подчистую, в том числе уничтожив генерала Крылова. Из нашей группы тоже почти никого не осталось, но пару человек таки выжило, и вместе с ними мы собираемся мстить. Надо догнать Шкира и призвать его к ответу. Спасибо за ваши лайки под этим видео, это все не просто так, они правда помогают продвигаться контенту. Приятного просмотра. Ну уже смотри, каким-то боком нам надо попасть на ту сторону моста. Река, насколько мы знаем, супер радиоактивная, ни на лодке никак не проплыть. Что остается? Слушай, я придумал. Ты не знаешь, в этих проводах еще осталось электричество? Сектор, ты что задумал? Я понимаю, что у нас нет особого выбора. Да у нас вообще выбора нет. Не через речку же ядовитую плыть. Придется лезть через провода. Постой, давай обсудим детали. Может, есть другой способ? Подожди, я что-то слышу. Ситх, ты как хочешь, но я лезу. Эй, ты что друга оставил?
Да наоборот, значит. Наоборот, да, понимаю, он тебя просто, да.
Opera GX — это браузер, специально разработанный именно для геймерского сообщества, в котором каждый игрок найдет для себя полезные функции. Ошибся, что ли? Я ошибся, что ли? Нет, себя, да.
charming idea, quote composer. May I see? Just a trifle, of course. May I try it? Majesty. Let's have some fun. Delightful chord composer. May I play it when he comes in?
You're doing too much honor, sire.
Bring in Herr Mozart, please. But slowly, slowly. I need a minute to practice. Good, continue. G. Excellent. Very good. Very good, Majesty. Tempo. Lightly, then strongly. The march, march. Again.
Bravo, Majesty.
Please, less enthusiasm, I beg you. But,
Majesty.
no, please, please. It's not a holy relic. You know, we have met before, in this very room. Perhaps you don't remember it. You were only 6 years old. He was giving the most delightful concert here. As he got off the stool, he slipped and fell. My own sister, Antoinette, helped him up. And you know what he did? He jumped into her arms and said, "Will you marry me, yes or no?" You know all these gentlemen, I'm sure. The Baron Van Swieten.
I'm a great admirer of yours, young man.
Thank you.
Kapellmeister Bono.
Signor. My pleasure.
The director of our opera, Count Orsini Rosenberg.
Sir, yes, the honor is mine. Absolutely.
And here is our illustrious court composer, Maestro Salieri.
At last. Such immense joy. Diletto straordinario.
I know your work well, Signore. Do you know, I actually composed some variations on a melody of yours.
Really? Which one?
Mio caro Adonne.
Oh, I'm flattered.
A funny little tune, but it yielded some good things.
And now he has returned the compliment. Herr Salieri composed this.
I made this song in 2 minutes using my MIDI pack.
I did not hit her.
It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. Oh, hey, Johnny, what's up? I have a problem with Lisa. She said that I hit her. What? Well, did you? No, it's not true. Don't even ask. What's new with you? I'm just sitting up here thinking, you know. I got a question for you. Yeah? You think girls like to cheat like guys do? What makes you say that? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just thinking. I don't have to worry about that because Lisa's loyal to me. Yeah, man, you never know. People are very strange these days. I just know a girl. She had a dozen guys. One of them found out about it, beat her up so bad she ended up in a hospital on Guerrero Street. Wonder story, Mark. Yeah, you can say that again. I'm so happy I have you as my best friend, and I love Lisa so much. Yeah, man. Yeah, you are very lucky. Well, maybe you should have a girl, Mark. Yeah. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I have one already. I don't know yet. Well, what happened? Remember Betty? That's her name? Betty? Yeah. Yeah, we don't see each other anymore.
Что такое, блин?
Imagine if we had a special time machine that allows us to send a clip of music to any composer back in history. Today, let's do this with Billie Eilish's song Happier Than Ever and see what these 5 classical composers might end up composing around it. Billie Eilish is an artist that I really love and respect, and I got pretty excited when I recently discovered that there is classical music embedded within her latest album, in her track Goldwing. The intro comes directly from Hymn to Vina by Gustav Holst. It's a part of his choral hymns from the Rig Veda, a work he wrote in the 1910s that was inspired by ancient Sanskrit text. So it's pretty amazing.